You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa! What up, mi gente? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, we're talking to a very, very talented individual. I mean, homie was a senior visual development artist at Marvel. I mean, he's one of Baby Goose daddies, if you will, right? MCU Loki and a whole bunch of other stuff. But right now, homie is the creative director at Dolphin Entertainment. I mean, he killing it. Amazing artist, amazing designer, all the way from the Philippines, I believe. But we're gonna get into it. You're gonna get into it. The one, the only, the legend, Anthony Francisco. Epa, how you doing, kiddo?
Thanks for having me, man. That's a great intro.
Ah, man, well, you rock, bro. You've been
Yeah.
killing it in the business for years. You ain't no new jack, but it's nice to see a nice story like yours. A person that normally doesn't get a spotlight, but yet has had his hands everywhere. My God, Anthony, what the hell haven't you touched?
Yeah.
Woo!
It's been
So
crazy.
yeah, man, it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm glad that we're going to be able to share that today on the Comic Crusaders podcast. So with that, origin story time, Anthony. Where did you hail from? Where were you raised? And what was your first taste of fandom? Whether it was comics, TV, whatever it was, what got you hooked like a fish?
Oh man. I was still in the Philippines. That's where I was born. I grew up till I was 16, 17 years old, and then I came here. But the first time, I think I was 4 or 5 when I first saw my first Marvel comic book, you know, Incredible Hulk, Man Thing, and the X-Men, pretty much. And after that, I was like, I wanted to do comic books. That's all I wanted. I didn't know about film yet, but when I watched Aliens, Back to the Future, that's where okay, maybe it's film. Oh, I can hear you.
I'm sorry. So,
All right.
being that you're a young kid out there in the Philippines, I mean, how vast, if at all, was the comic book market? Being that you're falling in love with comic book properties, did you have good access, or were you limited? How was that?
Well, luckily for me, my family, they like comics. My grandfather, I think, I was told, my lolo, we call that in
El
Tagalog,
Lolo,
lolo.
Epa.
Yeah, yeah. He loves collecting comics on my dad's side.
Okay.
Legend has it that he said he used to have Batman #1.
Yeah, you know what? My
And
father says the same shit too. I'm
yeah,
like, why did you
yeah,
keep it?
yeah. Why'd you keep it? Oh, my Lola had a good story, because in the Philippines it would flood all the time, and he had his
Okay.
comic books in the basement area, and that
All right.
flooded. I'm like, oh, are you sure? Or maybe one of my cousins has it.
Knowing that you flood, how dare you put that in the basement, right?
Yes, exactly. That's not a good story there. Oh man, but
That's
yeah,
just
and I was lucky enough that we had a comic book store that's called Phil Bars in the Philippines that I would be able to walk to. Another friend, close friend of mine, Luigi, introduced me to that comic book store. But the funny thing is, it wasn't a comic book store really. It was clothing. They sold clothes, and they had a little section of comic books.
Oh no way, man.
Yeah,
Hey, at least you
yeah.
were looking fly and then getting your comic books, all right?
Yeah, yeah, they're like one of those places you buy it before they even go out into the public. So
Okay.
it was pretty fun seeing that. But that little comic stand that they had turned into the whole store because it just grew and grew, and they weren't making as much
So
money
they
with.
s- they kept seeing Anthony coming, like, oh, he likes spending money
Yeah,
here, so let's get more.
just read it without paying. Just
Oh,
there's
you were
even
one of those hiding in a corner?
yes, we didn't have that much money growing up in the Philippines, so it's funny because I don't have much toys, and the comics gave me my imagination.
Yeah.
And then what I would do is I would draw the characters on piece of paper, and I would cut them out and then just play them like little action figures. That's how I.
Really? Oh wow. You see, folks, man, imagination, it takes you to many, many places. So growing up there, did you have a tribe of friends that like what you like, or were you kind of alone as a kid with your
Um,
nerddom?
I would say in the at school, at school, not much of us, yeah, because sometimes I still remember this one girl who had a crush on me, and I think she was also a little bit tall. I'm not that tall, so she's taller than me. And then she would be like asking other people, "Why does he like comic books? Isn't that like for kids or something?" It sounds like she couldn't get with me because I like comic books or
As
something
much
like.
as she liked it, I was like, oh my God, no, he's too much of a geek for me.
Yes, too much of a geek. But at school itself, I think actually no, I don't remember people liking the same stuff. Maybe there's
Okay.
just like 10 of us or something through the whole school or something like that. Or some people were just hiding it because they didn't want to be,
Ruined
to
their
know
nerd
about that.
credit, right? They're
Yeah,
cool
yeah,
credits. I'm too
co-credit.
cool for this.
Oh man.
And now look at it. If you love this stuff, you're like the most popular person in school. Isn't that
Yeah, who would
wild?
have thought? Like I make more money than the valedictorian that was. I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Hey, I'm sure you do. You better hit that motherfucker up. Here, you call me a nerd. I could buy you 10 times over, you bastard.
Yeah, yeah. It's like my love for comic books became my job. It's funny how it cycles around like that, and the comic books doesn't just mean superheroes. It's just like you said, the creativeness. I got into Dungeons and
Yeah,
Dragons, film. Like film stuff is cool, but when you think about it, that's also just the same as storytelling. It
yeah.
could also be nerdy, right? Star Wars, like, and Back to the Future and that kind of stuff. Wasn't seen as nerdy, but it's the same thing.
So when you talk about film, because you mentioned that already like twice, what's your jam? What is your jam? What was the first movie you fell in love with?
Oh man, I love like horror films, sci-fi but the first one has a mixture of both, which it really scared me when I was younger, but I recall that being my first theater experience was Clash of the Titans 19 the first one,
You
1970.
saw it in the theaters?
Yeah, I saw that in the
I'm
theater.
jealous. I never
Yeah.
got to see that in the theater. I wish. That's cool.
Yeah,
Love that
but
movie.
I think it came to the Philippines a little later, not quite when it showed. Maybe
Oh,
I
you
don't
had
know,
it the
because
matinee.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that one, I think that was one that really, Jason the Argonauts. I think that's another one. Most of
Okay.
the Ray Harryhausen stuff, I
I
think I
mean, he
got to
was, but
watch.
that's a boss. That's a legend right there,
Yeah, the
son.
legend. Yeah, I
For
wish I get
real.
to meet him someday.
You know what? Yeah, well, we all will one day eventually.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I just remembered now, because we're talking about the movies that are so memorable. I remember the first time coming to the United States and finally living here. Our petition went through it. I almost didn't even make it because if you reach
Really?
like I think 21, yeah, because I was like 17, 17, right? And I thought maybe when I'm 18, my petition will work, but I think it was 21 really.
Okay.
Um, but I wasn't here that long. One of my friends, I used to work at Costco. So one of my friends there, he showed me like the ropes. This he would bring me to his neighbor. He also is a film buff, right? And he
Okay.
brought me to watch Jurassic Park, the first one.
All
That's what
right.
I remember. Yeah, in the theaters, like, wow, this is amazing. I really want to go to that. And then I saw the artwork of Crash McQuarrie for that, and that's when I started like understanding and trying to delve more deeply into what I could
Okay.
do for art in the industry.
Okay, so you didn't take this creative stuff until you got here, or you already being creative when you were back home in the
Oh, I
Philippines?
was already drawing since I was 4, 5.
Gotcha.
Just,
But
yeah,
when did you know it
sketching.
was serious, though? When did you know, like, I really, really want to do this for the rest
Oh
of my
man,
life?
I I think I've always known I wanted to be an artist for the rest of my life. It was not a difficult decision, but forces outside say don't do that
Of
because
course. Listen, man, I mean, Filipino families are the same as Latino families. I've been around Filipinos, let me tell you. Yeah, they're like, yeah, that's bullshit job. That's bullshit job. Hey, I
yeah,
know
no,
it's
not
not, yo.
that.
You don't have no idea. Stop talking about what you don't know about.
Yeah, and the hard part was I had no idea until I'm just like comic books. I didn't know, when I was growing up with during that time of Jim Lee, right? One of my favorite artists
Oh, and I
was
met him at New York Comic Con.
oh yeah, oh
I
man, that's
approached I approached him in the most funniest way. 'Cause instead of being a fanboy, he was wearing an LA hat. And my
yeah.
come on, but you're in New York? So I go up to I just went up to him. I was like, yo, hey yo, why would you wear an LA hat in New York? You're a very brave man. He just looks at me like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah, yes. That's a good way to break the ice for sure. Yeah,
Oh hell yeah.
he's a good guy. And I totally get inspired about his stuff in the his run on X-Men. But that time I didn't know that that was like the height of comic book artists and colorists and inkers making so much money.
Well
I
yeah.
have
The
another
rock
friend,
star. That was the rock
Rocks.
star movement in
Yeah,
comics. What?
man, hearing these stories and I didn't know that in the Philippines. I didn't know that. I could have been saying that to my parents, like,
Yeah.
these guys made three
Look
hundred
at Tim
thousand dollars.
Lee. Look at Rob. Look
Yeah,
at Todd.
yeah. Todd McFarlane,
Look,
another
Rob
one.
McFarlane is an underwear model. Don't you want to see me as an underwear model in New York?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make that residual money and just creating stuff. I mean, creating characters. That's kind of like what I ended up doing at Marvel, but
Yeah,
the
talk
film
about
side,
that. He
film
just
side.
drops that on the side, folks. He's so yeah. That's what I did
Yeah.
at Marvel. So talk. All right. So let's talk about that journey. I mean, how did you go from this kid in the Philippines, just starting out, and then landing an opportunity that you did at Marvel, and then being so involved in the creation of so many iconic characters now?
Man, yeah, let's see. How does the journey to end game happen? It's like, uh, but yeah, it was long. I mean, I've been doing concept art for about I think it's 23 years now.
Oh damn!
Um, yeah, so 9 of those years have been at Marvel Studios.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like in 2012 was when I got there. But before that, I was already working on films like Men in Black 2. My
Well, how
very
did you? Wait a minute. How the hell did you even get involved? Look at this guy. He's like, yeah, I did this. Like, wait a minute. How did? All right. I always like to know how did you get the opportunity? How did that even happen? Because again, you're talking about the film industry here in the U.S. and then you're in the
yeah.
Philippines. You're only here a short time, unless you came here like Red Tornado and just tore it up.
Well, okay. From the beginning, I guess we could go in more detail. I mean, I have some time. If you have some time, I mean, we'll talk a little bit more. Okay, so from the Philippines, I got here around 98, 98. And there was, in between that, going to the Navy. I went to the Navy for a couple of years.
Oh well, thank you for your
Yeah.
service, bro. There you
Oh,
go.
thank you so much. I mean, I was a problem child in there because I'm creative. So I just want to draw. I'm even developing some shows based on my life in the Navy.
Okay.
How creativity sometimes it's hard to do that when you're in a situation where it's very difficult because I was like seasick, so it was
Oh
kind of
damn.
hard. So my imagination,
He's
yeah,
a Navy guy that gets seasick. Look at this shit.
yeah.
I
How would you
love
know that, right? It's like I'm this tough guy. I do. Uh, I also do jujitsu, so that's kind of what helps me not get bullied around so much. But tough, I'm tough.
it.
I'm just 5'3". That's why Wolverine is my favorite character. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Long live
Yeah,
the shorties, bro. Hey, bro, I'm Puerto Rican.
yeah,
I'm only 5'7". I ain't that tall by
yeah,
standards.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're like, right? You're rough, rugged, and raw. You're just like, you're like Wolverine. And but uh, uh, but but in spite of the toughness, I thought I was so tough. When my ship went out into sea, I was like, wait a second, why am I feeling this thing? It sounds like yeah, it's just the opposite. Nah, it was tough.
Hey
It's
guys, hold
great.
my hair back. I gotta throw up, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, sometimes I just want to jump in the ocean, just end it. It's like that's how bad sometimes it got.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
We got BTD and say, howdy, fellow Atrivians.
hey, Trivians,
Wepa.
that's your family,
Oh,
the
really?
Trivians.
Hey, we're gonna get into that. So go to your story, then we're gonna find out what the hell is in a trivia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, well, again, after the Navy, I came back to LA. That was around like 96, 97,
All
and
right.
that's when I, started putting together a portfolio for my work, uh, to get into comic books first. But then I also wanted to get into Magic the Gathering. You know that card game, Magic the
Oh
Gathering?
wow, really? Yeah, listen, I never got into the card games as much as I want to learn. Let me tell you, I have teammates that just want to beat my ass, and
You
that's
gotta
why they
play
want me
it.
to play. They treat me like I'm Vince McMahon from the Attitude Era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh man. Oh man, if you have your friends like that, I designed I forgot. Tezzeret the Seeker.
Oh
So
really?
Tezzeret the Seeker, they'll know who that is. And that's
Okay,
like
yeah.
one of
There you
my
go, Joe Josh. Let's do that one. All right, let's go. You want to beat my ass so bad? Let's try. Try, boy.
Yeah, so from there, so when I took some classes in this one school that had a bunch of professionals in there, and that
How
was
did
what
you even
was
find
really.
out about that? Did you know that was a good place, or was your own research?
Um, I think I just saw a flyer. So I went to PCC, Pasadena City College, just to take some classes. These are the funny things, like my mom, go to school, graduate, get a job, right? That's, but I already know what I wanted, just art. I don't need grades for art. That's
I
what I
hear
would
you.
say. I didn't know if that was true or not. All I know is that I could give my portfolio. Big arguments, sometimes like, um, uh, yeah, I gave them a hard time, but they didn't know. That's the problem.
Oh
But
yeah, listen.
yeah.
I think we're around the same age group, and again, Latino Filipino families, I think are very much alike in what they believe is professional careers.
Yes,
And when you
yes.
say the word comic anywhere, all of a sudden, it's like no,
It's like,
no,
it's like the Jokoy one where, what?
yeah.
You're a comedian? We have no comedians in our family.
Yeah, you
It's
know.
like,
Oh, I love Joey Coy, man. When he said that, I'm Puerto Rican, but I know a lot of Mexicans. When he said
yeah.
Filipinos or the Asian Mexicans, I fucking died, bro.
Oh yeah, if you saw my dad, because we have some Spanish, so my dad does not look like he's Filipino. It's like,
All right. That's how I always work, man. I love my Filipino gente, man, for real. And that's
yeah.
why I'm blessed to know someone like you now, because
Oh yeah.
you're making moves, bro. It's beautiful to
I'm
see that you
trying.
show the world that listen, man. You see, look at him from the Philippines and touching stuff, and we're gonna get into Dolphin, but let's
Yeah,
keep on the
it's good.
how the hell you even got into movies working on Men in Black. I mean, Will Smith didn't slap you, right? No, he wouldn't.
I wish I haven't even met him yet, but it's from the it's from the entering the industry from the work, not the workers side of stuff, but it's more like a special effects industry. I think that's how I got in first, because during that time there wasn't much creature designers, and that's my first job. I was a creature designer. But just
Ooh,
to even go
okay,
before that, just because you were asking, because how do people get into this? And
yeah,
you
man,
know, part of it, of course, I would say is mindset, right? You should have that visualization in your mind that this is where I want to go, and it's kind of stop listening to the noise, right? It's easy. A lot of people say that, but then after that, what do you need to do to go to that? And the
yes,
school, still school, right? But the school that I went to was more of a vocational school. The
all
part
right,
that kids have to remember is when your parents say school, most of the time they think, oh, university, which is fine too. You can go there too. You'll meet your friends, you'll meet your peers and people that will get into industry, but you have to make sure you're approachable and you're open for people wanting to be with them, to work with them. If you're an asshole, no one wants to work with you, and they'll never
exactly.
remember you for that.
Plus, assholes
You know?
smell, so you don't want that either.
Yeah, yeah. So I can say that here, right? It's not. So
This is not for children, all right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
What and BT from Isabela, huepa, para que sepa, Polis Supremo. Oh my God.
So so yeah, so when you go to school, you have to make sure that you're checking who's the teachers there, if they vibe with your style, if the kind of stuff you want to do. And it turns out, when I saw the flyer, at that time I wasn't thinking of being like, well, there's no Marvel back then. I didn't know exactly what I wanted. All I knew, I wanted to do illustrations for comic books or Magic the Gathering at that time.
Okay.
I didn't
All
know
right.
what concept art was yet, or creature design. I didn't know that until
All
I
right.
came to this school. It's called Associates in Art. Nowadays, there's a lot online. Everyone, if you won't learn, if you can't learn online at this day and age, it's like you're not searching enough,
You're
right? If you say you
finished.
don't, yeah,
You're finished.
because everyone could learn art. Anytime, any age you are, you could get in somehow doing art.
I mean,
Even if it's,
nowadays you got AI. All you gotta know is how to type.
oh man, yeah, AI. Oh man, we have such a big talk about that. I was at Lightbox last week.
Oh, you were a
Uh,
Lightbox, man. That's
yeah.
a great show, man. Unfortunately, yeah, we were invited, but unfortunately, I didn't have someone that could make it. But
Oh
how was it,
man.
man? And what was that conversation like about AI? Because I know that's a big thing amongst
It's a
artists
big
right now.
deal, yeah. Right now, well, it's still so early to say if it's good or bad, right? But I was on a panel with Carlo Ortiz, Boss Logic, and
Ooh,
Loish, some like
yeah.
really amazing names right there.
Then you
Um,
chilling. Look at this, bro. Look at hanging with the big boys, baby. Cause you're a
yeah,
big boy. There we go. Woo,
yes,
love it.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate that everyone. This is how I know I'm older now is when younger kids would come up and say, "You're a legend," and like, wait a second, no, I'm not. I'm not that
Right?
age yet.
I'm not
You
that
know,
old yet. Damn, stop it.
yeah, I'm not.
Don't let this gray hairs fool you. It's just because I don't dye them.
Yes,
It's
that's why I
called
have this,
stress.
so
It's called
people
stress.
respect me. It's like,
Me too, but it was much longer. I decided to shape it up a little bit. 'Cause I'm going for a certain protrusion look over
yeah,
here.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're almost like a elder vampire. You
Well,
know.
but there you go. Don't let me start wearing red, bro.
Yes. Yeah. So uh yeah, that discussion was really interesting. We had a packed room, and just talking about how AI could be good or bad, maybe. But the part that I was a little worried about was the companies that were taking advantage of the artists, or
Yeah.
copyright infringement, or artists. I mean, prompt stars. We call them rock stars, but prompts like you
Yeah.
type in names like those would know how much of it is art, how much of it is not. It's your creative
Well,
idea, but is art just working on something for a while? But even doing prompts takes a while sometimes if you do
of
it right.
course. But when you
Yeah,
use someone's name while using those prompts in the style of now you're doing something, that maybe is not right.
that is definitely the
See,
topic. So
that's the
you
discussion, right? That's the discussion.
that's the
It's
discussion,
not
yeah.
about the AI art. I mean, yeah, great if you could draw, but when you start using names in the style of Anthony, in the style of Jim, in the style of Todd, okay, now you're doing something. You're using someone else's skill set without using their skill set.
Exactly. And other artists that have that are inspired by that art and they copy it, but they're drawing and they're still building a
Yeah.
skill until they get to a certain age where they say, you know what, I don't need their mentorship anymore, right?
Hmm.
But the thing is, if you just prompt it, you don't feel that hardship of catching that style. You
Yeah.
just easily just get it. um and that definitely is the topic. And the other topic is the companies that uh, 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 take advantage of us training their AI without paying us.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. Right? Because all of a sudden, okay, Anthony, we don't need you no more. And then all of a sudden, a week later, you're like, wait a minute, why does that look like I drew it, but I didn't? Right?
yeah, or
Oh,
like I'm paying them so that I could use the AI. I
right.
understand using it, but of course, when everyone's typing in names and then you're just building the library of their library without benefiting from it. You
Yeah.
know,
It's not
this kind of
fair.
yeah,
Again,
yeah,
it goes down creator rights, ownership, and all of that. I
yeah.
mean, it's AI, like you said. Yes, we don't know the impact yet, but it looks like it's leaning more towards the negative than the positive when it comes to creative individuals.
Yeah, but for the people beginners, it's awesome. I mean, I enjoyed using it. It was very addicting, actually. It looked amazing. Some of the things people come out with, it looks so good. And there are free AIs out there that you could use, so that when it's free, I feel like that's fine, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and if it's your own story, if there's a story attached to it,
Oh yeah.
but yeah. So yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
three
Coming.
days. Is
Yeah, coming back to New York, I've been taught. I've met neighbors that are all about this life. He goes, I can't draw for shit, but I could type, and look what I created. I'm like, oh my god,
yeah, it
damn,
looks.
that's you. Get out of here. Like shit.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't
good.
want me to put my sick shit out there. Fuck the Terrifier, bro. I'm gonna be the Mortifier.
The modifier.
All right,
Man, I wish
so
you got to go. You would have loved it. There's so many
yeah,
artists there
me
to
too.
know.
Well, I have more time on my hands. Maybe there's always next year, God willing, and
Yeah,
I'll get to hang out with Anthony and bullshit in
yeah,
person. So
definitely.
talk about so you're doing movie stuff, and then you start stepping into Marvel and working on big shit too. I mean, how do
Yeah,
you keep going and skipping about working with such major
man.
players in the game?
I feel like, for people listening out there, sometimes your own mind limits you, right, to get to where you want to go. And I know I got to doing art, and it's something I really loved, and I made money off that. But in the as I evaluate myself, eventually I realized I've always wanted to be a director, a writer, creator, right? Even being a YouTuber at one point was something I wanted to do, just so I could be self-sufficient and independent.
Of course.
And I own my own IPs and stuff. Uh, but in the beginning, of course, you have to have a resume, start a name for yourself. The very first show I worked on, you might know this, is Bubble Boy. Have you heard of Bubble Boy, the movie? Jake
Mm,
Gyllenhaal, he's like in a bubble. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's a long time ago.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yep, yep, yep.
Okay, so yeah, and then Men in Black 2, and then I even worked on Chronicles of Riddick, and
Oh,
then
I love fucking Chronicles, bro. I love the
yeah,
Riddick movies, man. We need another one.
yeah, yeah. Oh man, I worked on the Commander Vaco character, the one with the hair that's like Vanilla Ice hair. So
He said
I
Vanilla
gave him
Ice.
that. I gave him that. But yeah, and it's because I met a lot of people in that school that were professionals, and they saw my potential. And I worked for special effects shop first, so I got in through the special effects side of stuff, and then from there built my resume, um, and focusing mainly on design, because I could draw, but I couldn't render as well yet.
Yeah.
But once uh, Photoshop came into play, and that's when it was like, okay, Photoshop, this is amazing. I don't have to steal any art materials anymore. Just kidding. I could just use the computer, and I don't have to like buy acrylics or brush or paints anymore. Um,
Huh.
but yeah, but from there I went to games. So do you play a lot of games? Um, no, I did artwork for like NCSoft's Guild Wars.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Yeah, and Guild Wars, and I also did some stuff for eventually Magic the Gathering, right?
So you
So
eventually got to that magic.
yes, eventually it just took 10 years. But no, no, not 10 years. Sorry, it was like 5 years, I think, after being in the industry. But from the beginning to Marvel, I think I was in the industry for 12 years already, before I got to Marvel. And how I got to Marvel is because when I started teaching, I met a lot of students that got really good, and one of them is the head of visual development at Marvel Studios, Ryan Meinerding. Uh,
That was a student. He-
yeah, he was a student. Yeah. I
nice.
taught a class with Kevin Chen at Noman, and we both taught this class, and that's how we met Ryan, and as well as Andy Park, who's an amazing. Andy Park's so humble. I didn't even know he did Tomb Raider before I met him, but
Oh, what? Oh man,
yeah,
so you didn't know nothing. Hey, what up, guy? He mentions nothing.
he mentions nothing until because he wanted to go into concept art that time, so he took our class. But we're all
Awesome.
together now at Marvel with Jackson Zay as well, a student of ours, and but they're so amazing. They're so good artists now, and
Amazing.
just we helped build the visuals for the MCU.
All right, so building stuff. I mean, talk about you designing stuff. How did you even feel? Like you're designing epic characters that have become so legendary now in the MCU movie verse, if you will.
Man, yeah, it feels so great. It just I can't no words, man. Like when you see Baby Groot running in the opening sequence of
Where
Guardians
were
2, I'm
you
like,
though? Where were you
holy
mentally
crap.
when you were building, putting together that baby group? I mean, where were you guys? mentally setting this up?
Oh, well, when I got into Marvel, the first film I worked on was Guardians of the Galaxy, right? And when people would say, "Oh, you're at Marvel now," and I'd say, "Yeah, I'm working at Guardians of the Galaxy," no one knew who Guardians of the Galaxy was,
Yeah.
except for me, of course, because I was into the comic books. I knew Charlie 27, and because Marvel Universe, the comic book Marvel Universe, where you have the profile pictures and their storylines. So I would read through that, so I know about Guardians. Uh, but people don't know about it. So sometimes some people were like a little worried about this new franchise. Uh,
Okay.
but I wasn't quite worried once I read the script and I was designing, Groot first, the big Groot. We were all designing it. Josh Herman actually came up with the final version of the adult Groot.
Okay.
So when it was my chance to do Groot as a baby in the pot, I was like, I it was exciting. But who would have known Baby Groot would be like huge like this? I didn't know,
Right?
you know.
Right? Apparently,
Um,
you're the boss of designing babies because you go from baby Groot and
yeah.
amongst other things. I mean, bro, you got your hands. What is it with you in baby designs?
I think I think it's my kids make me so happy because the the baby Groot on Gardens 2 where he was running through
Yeah.
that was I just saw my son running, right? That's like based off
Okay.
my kids when
Uh,
I designed that. Yeah, it's really
crazy.
close to my heart. And as well as Teen Groot and the next Groot, right? All those Groots now I've designed all of that. Now my son's
That's
like
Groot's daddy, folks, right? Movie Groot daddy right here.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
So
and
you
that
should be Anthony Groot Francisco.
oh man, maybe I
Right?
should Anthony, we are Groot. That's
Right?
all of us.
We are Groot.
Yeah. He's Baby Groot's a person of color too, so
Yeah, I know, man. When I
representation
heard
of
that
it.
story, that is actually based on a Puerto Rican tree, I'm like, huh? I was like, what? That's crazy. That's
A
awesome.
Puerto Rican tree. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's based on the Filipino tree.
Well, really, somebody
Uh,
said Puerto Rican. Everybody doing somebody's tree. So long as we
yeah,
got the
yeah.
roots in there, well, that's all that matters. Yo, let them
But we're
know. Let them
all
know.
they got the roots. That's so funny. Yeah, the tree's roots. Yeah.
That's all
And the
that
trees
matters.
everywhere. It's not just in the Philippines.
Exactly. I love it. I love it, man. This is what's up. So I
And
need
we're
you to,
all intertwined that way, right? We all got colonized at some point in the,
Oh, I know, guy, for real.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they call y'all the Asian Mexicans, cause Spain.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I mean,
because Spain,
because all
it's
of y'all
like,
last names. Look at you, Anthony Francisco. You
yeah,
would think some dude from the island somewhere, from the Caribe or something like.
yeah, it's isn't that funny? Like, it's hard to place what the Philippines. I've been researching stuff because you're considered Hispanic when your country has been colonized by Spain, but
Hmm.
then we're Asian because some of it is like what, and then we have a lot of black people, Africans straight from Africa,
Yeah,
like in there. So we're just like a big melting pot of stuff.
Philippines is just
But
another New York.
yeah,
So
that's right.
so as
Yeah.
you did your journey here at Marvel doing your thing. I don't want to take too much more for your time because we need to talk
Yeah.
about what's popping at Dolphin. I mean, what is Dolphin Entertainment?
Oh
How
man,
did you
yeah,
become a creative director here? What's going on? What do we need to get hooked on next?
man. Well, everyone like interested in NFTs and being able to own their own ideas within the Creature Chronicles universe. That's the next phase, right?
BT says Filipinos are rad.
Thanks, man. Yeah, yeah, and to join, please, everyone join our Discord because Creature Chronicles. It's this idea that I presented to Dolphin, and they like the multiverse aspect of it, and maybe creating just different worlds, and not only just creating it to make an original IP, do merchandising stuff, but also have a community where we could have other creators contribute to the storyline, but also owning a piece of it, but also owning the IP themselves and just
Oof.
sharing with some kind of profit when we sell the merchandise or something with Dolphin Entertainment. So that's
Gotcha.
how
So
I
Dolphin is a blockchain type of joint. You got the NFTs, you got other things involved. Oh man,
well
this is
no
good.
Dolphin. So the way to explain it is the new technology blockchain Web3. Dolphin is a Web2 company. They're
Okay.
specialized in so much like real life stuff. Well, what one example would be like 42 West. That's part of the
Okay.
companies that the company
Yeah.
is under, and they represent like famous directors, like even actors like Tom Cruise
Ooh.
and Tom Hanks, and they helped with releasing Top Gun, and as well as other they do like telenovela type shows, and they package different series for like Disney. Back in the day, that's how they started. Bill O'Dowd, again, the CEO, is amazing. He's the guy who I had a meeting with. This guy's 7 feet tall. He's just so freaking tall.
Like,
And I'm
excuse me,
so short.
may I stand on your desk as we chat, please?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, oh man, he saw the potential in all my ideas. They have first look
Wonderful.
for my other shows that I'm building. This IP was actually developed to become a series, more live action series. It's my Star Wars, right? So
Okay.
imagine if you could get in the ground floor with the Star Wars. You create a
So
Chewbacca,
how
you
wait,
own that
so
Chewbacca.
when did you even birth that whole concept in your mind and then decided to start pitching it around? What made Okay, let's go to the birth of the
Mhm.
idea and then your decision to say, okay, I want to pitch this.
Well, the birth of the idea was I was still in NCSoft in 2004, creating my graphic novels I wanted to do to get this IP started, a proof of concept through the comic books in 2004. And I got distracted with other jobs, and I didn't get to finish it. But aside from my Filipino folklore thing I'm developing, Creature Chronicles was one of the ideas. But the Creature Chronicle name, we got that from throwing out ideas at Dolphin when I finally got there. But the
Okay.
inception of wanting my own Star Wars was that during that time, because Star Wars is space cowboys. I wanted space samurais with space dragons. So
Yes.
yeah, so that's how that kind of came into my mind, and slowly developing stories. And it was like an anthology of space stories,
Okay.
which is how I think we would do it now. Because creature the Trivian Nation is just one
Yeah,
part of the
talk about
story.
that. What is in a Trivian, yo? What is that?
Well, the Trivians are these elder race of aliens that's been so advanced, and they look like space dragons. They might
Okay.
have even visited Earth, and you think they're angels, and maybe you
Oh, okay.
right. So that's kind of like the storyline, and they're
Okay.
interdimensional beings that could, because you know how they say, the UFOs might not be from our universe, and they're traveling into different dimensions. You
Yeah.
know,
Could you imagine
to
that, yo?
Yeah, that would be. There's some books, some very interesting. So I wanted that sci-fi aspect, bridging something that's kind of fun and adventure sci-fi, which is like Star Wars, into, and something like Star Trek, and then kind of getting to the middle somewhere. So it's not so Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of like that in a way.
God, oof, oof, oof.
Yeah.
So, what's in the future for this whole universe within Dolphin? What can fans expect, and how can we get involved?
Well, definitely check out the Twitter. Well, you can check out my Twitter. There's a link over there. But Creature Chronicles also has their own Twitter, and that's how we kind of give announcements on what's happening. And from there, come to the Discord, please, and that would
I
so you
need you
could
to
be
give
part of
me
the
the full
community.
channel so I could add that into the notes so people would go ahead and join
Oh,
in. So, what type of events do you do on the Discord, and how frequent are they?
so just I think it's just 2 weeks ago when we minted. So it was awesome because we fully minted, sold out in about 90 minutes.
Oh,
Seven
what?
thousand, yeah, 7,777 NFTs.
What? Get the hell out of here! Sold out that quickly. My God. I mean, of course, though, it's AF, man. Francisco, bro, doing his
Yeah,
thing, bro.
I know.
Get it done, bro.
So I'm glad with all the support, and I think they believe in where it's gonna go, because it's not just about the art. Of course, I did, it was fun doing the art, and that's something for you to keep, but that symbolized the beginning of this new, like, universe that people could be part of. And in the future, the idea that my goal is to have a animated series that someday would also become a
Ooh,
live action series. Um,
ooh. Are
yeah,
we getting toys and gear and even
that
linens,
that
bro?
yes, toys and gear. That's the goal. And even doing other things like webtoon, comic,
Gotcha.
or even just a regular graphic novel for another story. So it really is like a, like Marvel Comics. They have different titles within that. So
Of
Creature
course.
Chronicles will have different titles underneath that. That's why
Awesome.
I'm looking for creators,
Hey, you hear this?
artists.
They're looking for creators. Yo, and Snake says, drop some alpha, my boy. So
Yeah, if
what?
you
Okay, so where can they contact you if there's any creators, artists listening right now? And I could add that to the notes too. But if they wanted to get involved within the universe, where do they hit you?
Well, the benefit of owning an NFT is you have easy links to all of Dolphin and to
Ah,
me.
nice.
So that's what the NFT was really, the big benefit of that. So we could guide your story. I could maybe even do some of the art, um,
Ooh.
as well as even doing some classes on how to do your own NFTs. And then we'll have like supporting people from Dolphin because they're big PR. Cause they're like not one of like the third biggest, you know, in this industry, and they'll have the right connections for you. And even real life events, like recently we had like the pickleball in New York, I guess. So you'll be. I wish I could do that. I didn't know about that event.
Well, we're a pickleball event. Pickleball's getting hard, man. What's going on? I gotta get into some pickleball. I'm a handball player. I'll bust your ass in handball.
Yeah. Oh man, they should have that too. Maybe a handball event.
Yeah,
Man.
let's do a handball event. Let's go, man. We're gonna dominate. Cause let me tell you, the best on the field when I was growing up was Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and Filipinos.
Oh
Motherfucker were
wow.
rocking the handball courts here in New York. You ain't fucking with us.
Man, that handball's hard, man. I've seen people play that. It's just like,
Oh yeah, it was fun,
man.
man. There was only one guy that I couldn't beat, and this guy, I don't know how. He was standing in the middle of the court, and he was ambidextrous.
Oh
So
wow,
he really
that's
didn't have
fast.
to run much. He had the same power in both arms, like you bastard.
Wow.
And me, I'm running
Yeah.
through the court like I was Speedy Gonzalez and shit. He would still beat me. I'm like, God damn, that's the only dude I ain't beat.
Man,
Because
that's
of that
amazing.
ambidextrous people of my kryptonite, apparently.
That is, yeah, that's hard. I tried drawing my left hand,
uh,
just in case my right hand
Yeah,
dies.
yeah, I know, but you got to put that in practice back in the day with just your left. At least get that cut going. Get the cut. Get the
Yeah,
cut.
yeah. Oh man.
I
But the ball
love
is
this.
so small. I don't know how you guys could catch it. It's just like, oh
Yeah, it's a
man,
cut, man. You got to.
amazing.
It's yeah, it's fun. I got to get back
Yeah.
into. I could use the weight loss. So,
Yeah.
right before we go, man, I always like to do two things. So, first off, Anthony, I just want to say, as a fan of pop culture as a whole and the movies and the stuff that you've worked on, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much, bro, for sharing of yourself and putting your artistic ability out there for the world to see. I appreciate the hell out of it. Thank you so much, man. You've entertained me and put smiles on my face, and not just mine, obviously, but millions across the world. So, man, God bless, bro. Keep on the journey. Thank you so much. I
Thank you,
appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me too. It's great now. I know you. We'll definitely hang out. Maybe I could
uh,
visit New York
yeah,
sometime.
oh, we got some
Yeah.
pizza and some beer. We'd be good, son. All right,
Yeah.
and then last thing, what type of advice would you leave anyone with that's also trying to step into the game in this day and age?
Oh man, always be open-minded, to new technology, and with your art and writing. Just also be very patient with yourself. Understand this a process of ups and downs, and just keep your eye on your goal. Um, yeah, keep it positive. And I guess to add to that, one of the if you're in a rut and in a toxic environment, really the best thing is to get out of that environment and gather your thoughts and try your best to change it, even in a little way. If you go out on lunch with your friends that complain too much and put you down, don't go out on lunch with them anymore.
Exactly.
Slowly like wean it away.
You're right, man. It doesn't matter where the negativity comes from. If it's your family, your friends, whomever it is, if they're
Yeah,
negative and they are a drain on your energy, cut them
yeah,
off. It's
Yeah.
okay.
And you could be friends with them.
Yeah.
You don't have to be with them all the time.
Yeah.
That's the trick there.
Keep that energy away. That's all. For me,
Keep the energy.
for me, it's easy to cut off people.
Yeah.
Listen, because if you're negative, I gotta do it. It's just, it's not about you. It's about what I
Yes,
want
yeah.
around in my life. And I'm not
And
dissing you. You can be negative all your life, and I still love you. But
yeah.
you can't be around me with that.
Yes,
Please,
you
I don't
can't.
want that.
Because especially guys that, oh man, there's sometimes you have a dream to be, a director, producer, and we're all kind of like, let's say, already successful, let's say.
Yeah.
But there's still the limiting beliefs that that people think you can't do it, and if you listen to it too much, you also would believe you can't, and
Yeah.
that's one thing I had to change. And the moment I thought I want to be a creator, I want to sell my IP, I want to, and everything in like 2-3 months, I started meeting the right people.
Woo. That's
It's
called
crazy.
psychomagnetism, kiddo. When you want something and you're doing it for the good of the culture. Yeah, man. Jim Steranko told me that psychomagnetism is real. People of a like mind will always connect, man,
That's
and
right,
build.
man.
All right. So with that, thank you so much, Anthony, for your time today. Now, this is what I need you guys to do that have been tuning in and listening. Check out the website. Go to art-af.studio. Check out the stuff that you got going on there. I'm going to share the other links for Dolphin and all that. That way you can get involved in the NFTs and join the Discord. But follow Anthony everywhere on social. You go to Twitter at art_AF_. Is that an L or an I?
Art
Right?
_AF_. That's it. Just art AF,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I put, folks, I confuse myself when I put a tab. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So Twitter is art_AF_. Instagram is Anthony_Francisco_art. And on Facebook, Anthony Francisco Art. Everything's below. Click away, join, say a Comic Crusaders Mega sent you. Let them know how much you appreciate everything this man has done. I love to see mi gente doing what they do and being the best at it, like Wolverine, kiddo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
true. Look
yeah.
at you. The best there is, right? At what I do, that's you. So salute. Saludos, mi
Thanks so
amigo.
much.
Much love.
Thank you.
And
I
with that, mi
appreciate it.
gente, you know what to do. Alto tells you what to do. But check out the rest of my awesome family, like at Outside the Panels, the Venom Crusade, No Price Podcast, K-Pop Cosmos. If you like that K-pop music.
Yeah,
your
my kids like that.
Oh, really? My homie Freya, wow, she be killing it, son. Killing it. Okay, Pop Cosmos, if you love that. They cover one band every time they do a show. So I believe it's Wonder Girls is next. So, if you're into K-pop, she definitely will put you on along with Marky Mark, all right? So that's what it is, folks. We do it all. We love you. Thanks for tuning in. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. ¡Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.